Alright everybody, welcome back. So I'm posting a new video. I was out for a few days on a vacation, so didn't get to put any up. We have a nice new game though that was in the forum. A lot of annotations were added, so gave me a nice idea of the mindset of the person that was playing this game. They were playing as the black pieces, so the board's obviously flipped. And let's go ahead and let's get into it. So e4, e5. Knight f3, knight c6, and here we see there's a really normal opening, and knight f6, so we have the two knights defense. This is very common. And here white plays knight c3. Now, what I recommend for white against the two knights is I like knight g5. Going for the fried liver attack. That's one of the main options. Another good option that I sometimes would play would be just a d3, and it's just a slow, simple opening, just a quiet Gioco piano type setup. Obviously the knight g5 goes into the pawn sacrifice that black should make, and black will get a lot of activity for it. That goes a little bit beyond just analyzing this game. That probably deserves a video of its own. But in the game, white plays knight c3, and this falls into a little opening trick actually that black could play. In the game, black just plays bishop c5, just developing. But actually, one cool move that black can get away with here is knight takes e4. The idea is that if knight takes, you have d5, and then you fork the knight and bishop, and then black gets a pretty decent position, and comes away with a pretty good opening, where it's gotten to a pretty equal position from an early point. Maybe after like bishop d3, and then just takes, and black's doing okay. Bishop c5 was played in the game. d3, a6. So this is good. You have a little spot for the bishop to drop back to someday if it needs to. And let's see here. White plays now a4. So now there's no b5 going to happen, which isn't a huge deal, I guess, because maybe black doesn't want to play b5 anyways. But a4, if white wants to stop it, that's okay too. It's not like incredibly critical moves that are being played. It's not like they're win or lose moves. But black doesn't really have to be too concerned about a4. And rook to b8. The annotation meant it's not a great move on my part, trying to push the pawn. But yeah, you probably could think about ideas like d6, just pushing the pawn, getting ready to get out your light bishop somewhere. Or maybe just dropping the bishop back to a7 is a pretty good idea. You have that spot, so why not just drop it back? Okay, rook b8. White castles, and then black castles as well. And black now has to deal with this bishop to g5 pin, which is a little bit irritating. And eventually we can get rid of this bishop. But, he does have the pin. So, queen e7. And this is not such a great move for the black pieces because of knight d5. And now this knight is attacked twice. And now also the queen is attacked. So, queen retreats, and then white gets to double the pawns. And now this black king is slightly more vulnerable, and black hasn't even gained any material from a sacrifice or anything. It's just been an exchange. And so this bishop now, the dark squares here, becomes very powerful. And that there's a lot of possibilities to make it very difficult for this king. Okay, so rook to e8, knight h4, and now there's possibilities of this queen coming in someday. So d6 is played, because that way you stop the queen from coming to g4. But you have another problem, which I think that white should go queen h5 here. And I think that looks pretty dangerous, because you're getting this queen very close to the king. Queen f3 is played in the game, which I don't think is as good as queen to h5, but you are still starting to get the queen closer. f5. E takes f5. Hmm. Yeah, white probably shouldn't play that move due to the fact that there's queen g3 and you're going to be getting mated. So let's go back to the position after e takes f5. When queen takes g4, or h4, bishop e3, e4. Okay, bishop e3, e4. And we have, okay, some exchanges. After bishop to d5, there's a very interesting move with rook takes e3, and then it takes into, you play like knight e5, and there's some interesting stuff that can happen there if you take with the rook, like something like this looks pretty interesting to try out. Maybe that would be something to try out instead, and makes life a little bit difficult for this queen. Let's see here. After rook g4, okay, black has to deal with h3, but I think that just bishop takes is okay for white. h3. I like the idea of attacking the queen. However, knight to d4 is not the right way to go there because of queen takes on g4. The way to go would be with knight e5, and then you hit the queen in the process and defend on g4. So knight e5, right idea, but just the wrong move to get the knight there. Okay, bishop takes, rook ad1. I realize I'm spending a little bit of time on this game, so and I don't want to make it too long, so I'm going to try to go a little bit through these next few moves kind of a little bit faster. Bishop takes f5. Yes, this is a blunder, you're right. Because, taking the pawn, queen can just take on f5, and I don't think that white has any problem. So I don't know why rook to f1. Don't understand why I just didn't take. Anyways, let's keep going. Okay. Bishop to, and black now is just much better because white didn't take that opportunity. So a missed chance there. As that happens, sometimes those types of things happen to me as well, though. Okay, we're getting that rook in. He was just sitting on b8, not doing anything, so we'll get him back into the game. Now he's happy. Okay, we're trying to get this rook in now, and maybe he can start doing things. Okay, b4, bishop a7, c4, and yeah, let's try getting just through this a little fast because I need to speed up. I realize I'm taking too much time. I mean, as much as I'd like to go into detail, I want to keep things at a decent pace. I don't think we need to sacrifice the bishop necessarily, because I think that this just helps white a little bit, helps him even out. We don't need to sacrifice, if we don't need to. Yeah, and it looks dangerous, but white does always have this queen on this diagonal. And I think that now the game is actually pretty even. Let's try going through the next few moves a little bit faster. Okay, so you think this was a mistake? White should have been better off with their queen still on the board. I think, though, if queen takes, I think that this is a rook endgame with 3 pawns for each side. I don't see how either side is going to be able to win this one with best play, because there's so few pawns left, and the saying, all rook endgames are drawn comes to mind. And I still think that it's still pretty even. I think, okay, maybe it's a little bit more pleasant, because maybe this rook's already behind the passed pawn. But the one plus for white is that he does have 2 pawns that are connected, whereas all the black pawns are scattered. And Yeah, it's still, I think, even. Still perfectly even, I'd say. Maybe I think slightly better for black, though, because, again, this passed pawn, maybe, does make it a little bit more. And also, this king and rook are maybe not as active. So, yeah, definitely. Now it's starting to become a little bit better for the black pieces. But even now, it's still kind of unlikely that one side should be able to win, I think. Let's go through and let's see what happens, though, because white does eventually make a mistake here. And here we go. And now the queen from the pawn, and white gets checkmated. So a very interesting game. White had a lot of chances to draw that one, but wound up not being able to hold it in the end. So interesting game. Lots of annotations, which I'm happy for. And yeah, again, I always take greater priority for the games that have a lot of annotations at it, like this one. So, everyone send me your games, and I'll take a look at them. Thanks. Bye.